welcome. Episode 1 of the Casting Creating Kings podcast with the Kings Grant Killers. Today we got Jiggy, Dukey, and of course the man, JBonez.
The man that made it all possible.
Oh yeah. Gotta have it in here. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fun.
It's
pulling up the stream right now, actually. So
it's gonna take us into our first subject matter is the podcast, KGK Podcast, and what we plan on doing. Basically, gonna try and do a weekly podcast, all things esports, outside of esports, what's going on with our org. Just keep you guys up to date and in the loop with everything going on. A little fun, trying to get these things going on different platforms. I know we're trying to get it on YouTube and probably gonna get this on any podcast listening platform we can get it on. A lot of evolution will come with that. But yes, we're with the COD boys today. Assistant coach player Jiggy, the GOAT, the man, the myth, the legend, the S&D star, Dukey.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you being too humble. Oh yeah.
He's the type that'll pull out a Barrett 50 cal when somebody shoots a body, and then he will die and get his body shot when he pulls that out quick play. Wow.
Bone's the real S&D star, though. Let's be honest.
Dukey, I think you're muted actually, because I didn't hear a word you said.
Yeah, you are.
Did you deafen yourself or mute yourself on cord?
He's shocked. Technical difficulties already in the chat. Imagine episode 1.
Right, look, they say if you're gonna mess up, to do it early. So here we go. Let's get him back here, and then we'll move on.
Plot twist: I didn't want him in here.
Jeez.
I gotta.
Still, I'm about to completely change the theme of my PC here in a little bit. I'm very excited.
I've been thinking about changing mine too. I like that day I said I was gonna do it. I got off and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a Black Panther one, but on all the sites they didn't have anything that looked good. So I was like, this ain't gonna work. God, what is he doing?
I'm changing mine to Halo for the new Halo that's about to drop. Pretty excited about it. Plus, I've just been on a massive Halo kick lately. You know, when we're not playing COD.
Yeah, I'm ready for the Halo to come.
Oh, I love Halo, dude. Halo is my all-time favorite game, by far. Followed closely by COD and then Gears of War. But Dukes.
I still like the Battlefield side of things.
I'm ready for that too.
You were talking about that earlier. I don't know. I'm excited for this one. This one looks chaotic as all hell, which is honestly what Battlefield is supposed to be. It's supposed to be chaotic and goofy, so I'm excited to play that. I saw the move where you jump out of the jet and you pull out the RPG and shoot them.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me now? All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and edit that out. I don't know what's been happening, but sometimes randomly with my Discord, like it just shuts off and you just can't hear anything. And I'm like, okay.
Look, do better, be better. That's all you have to do.
Well, because I saw what I have to do is I have to actually leave everything and then exit out the Discord, and then come back into it and then slowly connect back, and then that's what happens.
I will say our bit rates weren't turned off in the settings, so I put those all the way up.
There we go.
That was really good there.
Sweet. All right. Anyway, back to it.
Yeah, now that we got Dukas in here.
All bad.
I was telling them, you know, it's like they say, if you're gonna mess up, do it early.
Yes.
Yes, but since we got the comp boys, I'm gonna get straight to the notes here. I want to talk about the future of competition in KGK.
So, right now we just finished NACAL. Both teams actually didn't do too bad in NACAL. Obviously, it wasn't the outcome we wanted, but needless to, we did okay. Like, we did better than we thought we would going in, with little preparation, also with the addition of a new player onto Team 1, with only like a few days of practice. We did get out to some good teams, and I think the team that beat Team 1 ended up going to the final round, I want to say. They went into the finals. And then I think they lost, if I'm not mistaken. But I know that soon, what's going to happen is soon, we're going to try to get back into a league for both teams. And then on top of that, we're going to also start competing in tournaments. Also, Team 1 is going to be running pro points as well as trying to get ready for challengers in the near future. So hopefully by next season, we'll see Team 1 starting to make challengers run at some point.
Yeah,
So,
on the back end of challengers, but it's good to get those reps in, because once the year starts, if you don't get started with that early, you start falling behind.
exactly. You fall behind very quickly. So for you guys that don't really know about challengers and pro points, basically challengers is like the amateur COD league, essentially, a way that I'd put it. It's almost like a branch off of the COD league itself. And how it kind of works is it's called pro points. Kind of dictates how like the ranking of a team. So if a team has a whole lot of pro points, they're going to be ranked higher. If they don't have a lot of pro points, they're going to be ranked very low. Obviously, each player can get their own pro points on like different teams or from different organizations they played for or whatever. They can get pro points in different ways than just by grinding with one team. So if one team, one guy may have like 0 pro points, but another guy might have like 2,000 pro points. Basically, what pro points, how you get them is you play matches against other teams and challengers. And the first game that you play of the day, I'm pretty sure it's 15 pro points, right? And
Yeah, it
then
should be.
like if you win,
Yeah,
and then it's like every
it's
team
15, and
after
then
that.
after it's 5, I think.
Yeah, it's 5 after that. So there's people like and players that will just get up early in the morning and they will just grind pro points all day long, and they'll get like you can get up to like I think probably close to 150 a day. I'd have to say with how long the matches take, maybe more than that.
If that.
Yeah, if that. That's if you're winning every single game. Um, and then that's after the end of like the little ladder cycles that they have, the little seasons or whatever. That's when they take the team with the most pro points throughout the ladder, and they seed them in a tournament, and then they basically put them against each other. And it's usually streamed on YouTube. And there's one for North America, and there's one for Europe, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's kind of how challengers work. So ultimately we want to get Team KGK in the challengers scene, and then obviously compete for a challengers cup, because number one, there's a lot of exposure that goes in with that, and then number two, there's a whole lot of money that can be won there. And obviously that's what everybody's in it for, right? The money, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what all the new players
Oh,
are here for the money, right?
Beautifully
For,
said.
So that's the goal and the aspirations
Yeah.
for the upcoming future, I should say.
And then Bones, from the CEO business side, what are some things you guys are working on?
Yeah, well, I don't want to reveal too much.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
But yeah, there's definitely a lot going on. I mean, realistically, before the COVID situation and whatnot, I mean, Sean and I, my business partner, and um, basically we talked about opening a LAN center, and that was like our biggest thing, is opening up an actual business and having a place called home. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're working at right now, and just a lot of stuff going on in and around that, and seeing the best locations and whatnot, doing a lot of market analysis around certain areas and whatnot, and seeing what the best location would be for that. A lot of things go into it, obviously, right? With any kind of business.
Oh yeah. Big things.
Yeah. So, but I mean, besides that, on that side, I mean, we've been looking at obviously setting up, doing podcast like things on this side, like more media content, um, like getting more creators in here and getting creative, truthfully. Um, Also, what we want to really just bring in are people that are looking for, people that are looking to grind. And like Jiggy said, people that are looking to grind until whatever hours, you know what I mean? Like, and grinding for those pro points. That's what we're looking for. So, I mean, realistically, we didn't want to rush in to have too many things on the plate at one time.
Right.
Because as we were moving into a different scene, we want to make sure to take it slow and just make sure we cover all of our angles and whatnot. So it's going to be funny. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be an interesting next couple months here at KGK.
Definitely.
So I'm really excited.
Yeah, what better time than now, especially hitting the summer.
Yeah.
Rolling into a new COD, which they're rumoring it's a World War II game. Dude, you're giving me sighs. How do you feel about it?
I mean, the last World War II game, obviously, we had was terrible. And, like, what I mean by that...
Like, I wouldn't even say terrible as much as I would say boring.
I mean, you know, you're right. You're right. It was so like I remember we played it for like what 2 months straight with
Mhm.
all our friends, us, and after that we just stopped because
Yeah.
like it just got so boring and repetitive with everything.
I would say that
Right.
was like one of the
And
first that we like had a shit ton of people that we grinded it with, but I was like,
mm,
it just got so boring so fast.
I
It.
think it's because what Sledgehammer and all them were doing. I think they were trying to do too much with, especially like the multiplayer lobby, being able to walk around, do
Yeah.
everything and all that
Yeah,
stuff like
it
that.
was
Right.
cool.
I feel like yeah, it was a cool concept, but I mean, for me, it didn't like gel well together, and people were like, it was laggy. Like there was a whole bunch of connection issues with a few
Mhm.
things, and like I feel like if you're putting so much effort like into that type of stuff, other stuff's gonna lack. And like what lacked was be like the good maps, the good guns, the different type of like gameplay and stuff like that. And I think that's like the sacrifice they made because they tried to do something too much, and then it ended up costing in like the multiplayer and in the competitive scene as well. Because there's a lot of pros that did not like World War II, and it was just like we just saw like Scump. He tweet like like whenever he was streaming, he said he has to see the trailer first before he signs a contract again. Like
Yeah.
Pros are
So.
Yeah.
kind of hit or
Yeah.
miss about it. Some pros like loved it, just because it was a boots on ground. They had a decent league play, like ranked play set up, but it was like most of them that have a problem with it. It was just boring. Like it was a lot of grayscale, boring. Guns were like just boring. It just was repetitive.
Well, yeah, and they say, and that's kind of the name, like the nature of the beast when you're dealing with a World War II style game. There's only so many guns that were, prevalent
Yeah,
during that time,
yeah,
and so that was the issue. Is the game got stale very quickly because it was like there was no new guns, no crazy thing, and even then when there was a new gun, like it wasn't very good. You know what I mean? Like typically nowadays, like in these more recent CODs that we've had, when a DLC gun comes in, they have to nerf it like immediately because
yeah.
it's like it's overpowered like crazy. And any DLC gun is automatically banned in comp because they're notorious for just being so good. So I agree with you on a sense of like it was cool with the whole running around the lobby, like the open world style lobby, but like you said, it was really laggy, and there were times I don't even think I did any of the things in that lobby because whenever I would try to, either the game would crash or the game would freeze, or it wouldn't give me the credit for doing the task that I was supposed to do. I can't even remember what they were because I didn't get very far. I just remember trying to parkour around and trying to jump up onto the bunker. um, but yeah, like and then there was the whole system of like unlocking the supply drops or something.
oh, I forgot about those.
It was so strange like on how to do all that. Like I kind of liked it better in like the Black Ops 3 where it was like you just went in and you just exchanged your in-game currency that you got from playing matches or leveling up and then you got whatever gun. But yeah, with this new World War II game, I'm very nervous to see how they're gonna do it because I've already heard they're talking about bringing back a bunch of the maps or a couple maps from World War II already. And I mean that's fine if that's kind of where you're gonna go on the comp side of things, but it's like you're just gonna bring back that old stale feeling, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
you're gonna use the same guns
They need
and
some
then
color,
it's
some
yeah,
vibrance in the
say
game.
yeah, exactly. It's gonna be a dark gray game. Yeah, exactly. Like give us some color. I was one of the, front runners and the, people that were screaming for another jetpack. I wanted Advanced Warfare 2
Yeah,
personally,
chat
or
was just saying they wanted an AW2.
exactly. I was ready for an AW2. I
Yeah,
wanted another jetpack. I wanted Uplink back. I loved Uplink. And watching Uplink comp like back in the day, Black Ops 3 is probably the most fun comp you're ever gonna
yeah.
watch. If you guys aren't too into Call of Duty comp, at the very least, do yourself a favor and go watch some Uplink, like some OG Black Ops 3 Advanced Warfare Uplink. I
That
promise
was that
you,
was where it was at.
it's so much fun. It's like watching a basketball game but with guns. Like you can't lose. It's so much fun. So
I
When
think
was
I
the
think COD
last?
has a lot of COD has a lot on their plate right now because I think there's what Battlefield coming out, the new
hmm
Battlefield, not
right,
as a comp thing, but obviously just as a game in general, right? Like a
for
lot
the
of
community.
people,
Hmm
right? Yeah, a lot of people are getting pissed, you know what I mean, with the anti cheats and whatnot, and the
hmm
people in Warzone and
hmm
things going on there. So like I think they have a lot. I think they have a lot at risk right now. I think this is I'm not saying a make or break situation, but like this is like gonna. I think you're gonna see a big section of the crowd walk away. I mean,
Oh
I think
yeah.
you
Yeah,
might see some big names,
especially
and
from the game side of things. Like Warzone is
hmm
only going up, but you see like the decline of like regular players
hmm
on each COD title.
Exactly. Yeah. No, Cold War. When this game first came out, I thought it was a great idea. I was like, okay, you're kind of getting in between like the major wars because it's like we've had, World War One, then we've had World War Two a few times, and then we kind of went into Vietnam a little bit in Black Ops, but it was kind of more of just a spin on more of like communism and like major terrorists or communism. Then we went to the War on Terror with, Modern Warfare. Then we just jumped the gun and went straight into the future and just made up a bunch of people. We even had Jon Snow himself as an enemy in Infinite Warfare. Um, but then now we're like, okay, we're going back to the Cold War, more the rich history side of things, which a lot of people really enjoy that kind of stuff, and I thought it would have been a great idea too. But as soon as they said Cold War, I was like, okay, this game's gonna be dark. Like it's gonna be a dark game, like dark colors, like you're gonna be fighting at night all the time. There's gonna be a lot of under the table kind of stuff happening, and we saw that. But this game, in terms of its play style, the engine, I mean, I think we all can agree. We've all played comp, at least for a little bit, and we've all played league play and whatever else. We all can agree this game is about as inconsistent of a game as it gets, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And
it's
there's
just a rush game. Like at least I'll give
hmm
them this much. They made the colors look good. Like Treyarch hasn't never had an issue with their color scale. Like they don't make the game feel bad.
mm.
It's inconsistent. Like it's just a rush game.
It's just like, so for example, how many games can you actually play in a lobby with your friends before you have to restart your game because
Yeah.
people can't get in for whatever
Or
reason?
private
Yeah.
matches. You have to reset
Yeah,
after
you
it
have to reset. You
crashes.
can't shoot bots and then go into a competitive game in a custom match. You have to restart your game because the game still thinks that all those bots that you were shooting are still with you in the lobby, so it won't let you in. And then like the hit mark, like the time to kill was a big thing. And how many times do you like shoot somebody, what, 6, 7 times, and it's like, okay, they should be dead, but they just have that like sliver of health, that little like fingernail of health there, and you're like, what bullet went wrong that it only took a little bit of health instead of like the other bullets that took like that much, you know what I mean? And so you
Yeah.
see their health just that little minute, but then they kill you, and then they walk away from that gunfight, and then now all of a sudden you're down 3v4 because you couldn't finish that kill because the game is just so inconsistent. It just does, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
I
you
The
think it
never
has to
know
concept's
when
do
that's
with
gonna
there.
happen to
ping,
you.
though. I think it has to do
Yeah,
with locations of the servers and the ping
Yeah.
that is going on. I mean,
I
maybe
agree.
not so
Yeah.
much as the game, more. I mean, realistically, I mean, it might be the servers, and I mean the
Mhm.
internet provider at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. I think Lands is going to open the door back up to a lot of things. So I think it's we're headed in the right direction. Like I said, I think you're going to start to see that online side of things really dwindle
Mhm.
down,
Yeah.
and
Especially with
hopefully,
lands blowing up
yeah,
I
that's what
hope
I'm
so,
saying.
man.
with
There's a lot
COVID
of
coming down a
tournaments.
little bit.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
tournaments, I'm telling you, that are going to be coming up, and a lot of big things. I mean, like I said, I mean that's another thing that I mean we're looking to do in I want to say the future, but I mean sooner than later. I mean, is do
Mhm.
something on the tournament side of things.
Right.
See those
So I
KGK
mean,
live events. People see us up close
yeah,
and
that's what I'm
Exactly. Yeah.
personal.
saying. Like having that new media department and having that side of the media,
They'll
having
see it
our own
all.
media team is a
Hmm.
complete game changer. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like when we can bring our own media in,
Mhm.
that's where it's at. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like we don't even have to worry about it because it's almost like the Patriots as a New England fan. I mean, I've only
Mhm.
seen the craft media production team over there. That's been
Mhm.
snooping around, with their cameras. I'm not saying
Mhm.
that we're doing things like that, but uh, no, but basically, like in that aspect of um, just really having our own internal media for whether it's a review of our COD or whatever it may be, going
Mhm.
back, listening. I mean, realistically, I mean, everybody's on the internet nowadays, and I mean, I feel like this is the best way to reach people in that
Definitely.
sense of our message of what we're trying to get out.
I
Mhm.
think especially as
Well,
like on the AM level, there's not really anyone that you see. Like there's a couple teams out there that do a really good job at getting media out, but in terms of having a crew that kind of does things where, oh, I can see what it's like at the amateur level. I can see a LAN event
yeah,
at
you
an
got
amateur
exposure.
level. Like they're completely different than what you see on CDL. Like amateur events
Right.
aren't a massive main stage
No, and like
and
Mhm.
a
most of the
bunch of
video we have is
fans.
from like people's cell
Mhm.
phones. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
It's
was like,
like,
you
oh,
just
Yeah.
it's a
see
cell
cell
Mhm.
phone
phone
clip,
clip.
great.
Yeah, you don't get to see
Yeah.
those
Exactly.
cool, high quality, like
Yep.
you would see a pro. But for the lower level and players trying to get to that level, you don't see that So I think it'd be cool for people to be able to see different levels, which is
Yeah,
why
of
I'm
course.
excited to do kind of what we're doing, just show people the different aspect at this level of play.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
I want to switch it up here with some recent news in the FaZe crypto scam.
Hmm.
For those who don't know,
It's
I'll
wild,
set
man.
this up here. Basically, 4 members. It was Jarvis, Nikon, Tico, and K were a part of a crypto scam. Basically, it was an altcoin, and they called it the Save the Kids, and they basically promoted it by saying a portion of the sales was going to go to a charity. So they got a lot of big names, small people, people like us investing a lot of money in this crypto. And within like 2 days, the entire thing crashed and they pulled all the money out. That's essentially what took place there.
Yeah, pulling the rug. It's not good. Not a good look.
Yeah.
Definitely not a good.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
wasn't Jarvis the one that did the boxing or
Yep,
something like
he was the
that?
one that was just in the TikTok,
yeah.
YouTube boxing thing.
Mhm.
Jesus, that
So yeah.
looks bad on him
So
now.
so I had no idea even what happened until I think it was last night. In the middle of the eights that I was hosting. Chill was like, "Did you guys see what happened with FaZe?" And I was like, "I have no idea." And then I asked, and they're like, "Yeah, there was a crypto scam." And I was like,
Yep.
"That's really what we're doing now? Like, that's really a thing we have to worry about
Especially
now,
as
if you think about it."
all of them like millionaires. Like, what do you need to
Right.
scam people out of
Exactly.
money for? Like, that's just
You
greedy.
Well, I
you
mean, a lot
are
of those people, I mean, are gambling online. I mean,
Yeah,
most
yeah.
of what's
like
going on
The
behind
thing is,
those.
like you said, you know, they're millionaires. They're taking care of the rest of their life because they're part of FaZe Clan,
yeah, I
one
was
of the
about to
most
say.
like influential like social media teams of all time.
Hmm.
Is
They were on
FaZe
Sports
Clan,
Illustrated. Like,
Optic,
yeah,
like
you're
yeah,
good. You're set.
you're gonna be fine. You have young NBA players and NBA stars trying to get on to FaZe. Like Bronny James, for example, is a part of FaZe Clan. And so you know what I mean? Like you're as far as fame and wealth taken completely care of. I'm sure they have plenty of sponsors that you don't really have to worry about a whole lot. Why are you trying to scam people out of cryptocurrency
Well,
to
it's an
steal
easy
their
money.
money
It's a
and
flip.
then
It's a
yeah,
quick buck. You know what I mean? Like, who's going to say anything? I mean, as in any kind of stock or crypto. I mean, with the financials, the sector going crazy. You know what I mean? With all
Mhm.
this Wall Street bet stuff and whatnot. And I mean, a lot. It's not even just in cryptos, guys. I mean, realistically, I mean, it's in the entire financial sector. I mean, this
Yeah.
happens on a daily basis. But like,
Mhm.
Hmm.
you know, it might not be to this extent. But like, I mean, these big places. I mean, they do the same stuff. They talk stuff up and there's an old saying. I mean, buy the rumor, sell the news, right? So I mean,
Mhm.
just I look at it, you know, like it's very very dangerous to be doing that. I mean, I would only be going to a financial of a person that's like a professional financial, you
Right.
know, somebody that's doing that stuff professionally licensed. A lot of
Mhm.
these people aren't doing that stuff. You should never listen to anybody
Oh yeah.
that's giving financial advice on
Mhm.
social medias. That's the first mistake. You're bound to
Right.
lose. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, it just
It's
Yeah.
sucks
crazy.
too in this day and age. Like, you have people like they're a perfect example, like FaZe members. You're like, I can trust them. Like, I watch
Yeah.
them. I'm a fan of them.
Yeah.
They play for FaZe.
Yeah.
Like, why would they lie to me? And then that's how they get all these younger people finessed.
Yeah, that's one
Yeah,
thing
it's
I was gonna say.
crazy.
Like, these are your role models. Like, you know, guys like us that grew up, you know, looking up to these guys, and then you're gonna do something like that. It's kind of like a slap to the face. You know, it's kind of like you feel like like they're just kind of spitting in your direction. Like they wouldn't have got there without us. You know what I mean? Like being there for them, and then they're gonna do stuff like that to the community. Like it's just unexcusable, dude.
I
That's
mean,
ridiculous.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's definitely. I mean, it has an effect on FaZe because obviously they're with FaZe. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not a good look.
Mhm.
But I mean, obviously it probably wasn't like FaZe directly. You know what I
Well,
mean? There's
FaZe came
probably
out
Right.
like a
directly too. They suspended 3 and kicked 1, like,
yeah,
completely.
Right.
So they put a
Mhm.
statement out like immediately.
But see, that's how I found out about it. Like I saw FaZe had a statement. I'm like, what is this about? And then I read it, and I'm like, people be suspended. Some dudes like terminated. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah.
I read it after you guys said something about it. Yeah. Um.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's unreal. I don't understand how people can do stuff like that, but I don't know, man.
It's just
money,
like,
man, greed.
Money
Sorry.
hungry.
mm,
Yeah, definitely.
Want to take a quick step back, Bones, if you want to Bones and Jiggy, if you want to take over this sponsor of the week, think we want to
Oh
try
yeah.
and what we're going to try and do is every week we have a few sponsors, we have discount codes, promo codes. Eventually we might try to do giveaways, but that'll be down the road. But we want to go ahead and take a step back here and let these guys take over for the sponsor for the week.
Bones?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Aporia Customs, guys, you know, KGK all day code. Massive line. I mean, we got everything. I think we got like 12 or 13 items in there, from shirts, shorts,
Face masks, jerseys.
pants, you name it, we got it. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, there's a bunch of stuff we're having designed right now too. I mean, Aporia is a great company, local company. So shout out to them. They've been giving us some great quality stuff here.
Oh yeah. Say this face mask super comfortable. You can breathe through it.
Face masks,
It is
super
reversible.
impressed.
And then it also has the adjustable straps on them, so when you go out, you can have your face mask on. LAN tournaments, you're gonna be able to wear these, so you're repping your team as well as staying safe during the social distancing stuff that's still going on, obviously with the COVID pandemic that's still happening. So shout out to Aporia Customs, dude. I love this jersey. This thing is comfortable. It breathes. I wear it every time that we do any kind of competition. So, and then obviously it's got your name on the back. So turn around here. You can see all of it, and then all the sponsors down the back, down the sides. So
Yeah.
definitely high
Customize
quality.
and whatnot. So.
Oh yeah, completely
I mean,
customizable.
Yeah, definitely.
See, there you go. Yeah.
I'd throw mine up, but it's in the other room.
Definitely check them out. AporiaCustoms.com. I don't know if we can put that on something. I mean, it's all on our website, social media. Just click the link
it's all
there.
there.
Team KGK on Insta. So
Yeah.
realistically, just click there, follow the link, use KGK all day. I think it gives you a 20 or I think it's 10 or 15. It gives you some percentage off. I'd have to see on that because I know it changes. I don't want to tell them the wrong thing, but it definitely gives you a percentage off. It'll tell you at the bottom at checkout. Use that. Yeah, appreciate it.
Website is Aporia Customs, I believe, .com.
Yeah, AporiaCustoms.com.
I think you got to go into our link to get the into like the I think it's under stores. I think that's what it's under, and it's Team KGK and
Team KGK. Yeah.
Yeah, so AporiaCustoms.com, search up Team KGK, it should take you to our store, and then use that promo code at the end for your checkout, get that percentage off, and you're good to go.
Oh yeah.
And with that, we're gonna bounce right back into the topics here. I got more on the CDL. We're gonna go right into our CDL predictions. I know we're taking a week off, and then this should be this weekend. I think they're starting the next major. Stage.
The next major, the final one, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, what are you're predicting? Who's gonna win the major? Or who's gonna win it all?
I think we'll start with the major. So, Dukey, we'll start with you because I know you're a 100 Thieves fan, and we all know what's going on with 100 Thieves.
The missing identity team.
The rotating team over there. What's going on?
Like, I see. At this point, I mean, they released Temp. They did roster switches with Slasher, Draza, Hook, and everybody. TJ, Venom, like
TJ's put back in.
At this point, I'm surprised Scump hasn't been playing for 100 Thieves. With how many times they're rotating players?
But, like, I'm just saying,
God.
There's a time and a point where we can tell, like, oh, it's probably the players, blah blah blah. Now this is my opinion, and I'm not saying this is true, but I'm saying, but like, there's like sometimes players that don't mesh well with each other. They're not playing to like what's gonna go on and what's gonna happen. They're not playing with one, blah blah blah. But I don't think it's that. Honestly, the coaching right now is my biggest thing because I really believe it's the coaching. Since JCap, number one, he's a great guy. I never met him, but he sounds cool. But like, I mean, he has a whole bunch of credentials. I mean, comp player, he's known. He's a good coach as of right now. He got rings.
Champion.
But like, I mean, I just feel like what he's doing with the team right now is not for the best interests, and like, it's just too much like of a flip flop. Like it's like a what is it, teeter totter, just like that.
Yeah, there's no
Well,
time to build chemistry. I don't know what they're doing.
And like they'll play one game where they look really really good, and then all of a sudden the next game they'll look really really bad, and then all of a sudden roster switch again. There's been like over 6 roster switches this whole year.
Yeah.
And
I don't think them being TJ being benched, put back on, Hoop being benched, put back on. Like, they're
Like,
benching and
how do
putting
you
back on and benching and putting back on.
like? I understand like what when Hook was, with Adderall, blah blah blah, that whole big thing, but the man of like that caliber, he's a good player. To me, he's way better than TJ. I don't understand like how things wouldn't mesh together. Maybe it's a talent thing, like Kenny said before, but I feel like Hook is really, really good with those, Kenny, with Draza, and like who was it, Venom?
Slasher.
Venom's
But
not
like,
playing now. Yeah, it's right as of
see, there's
now.
there's so many
As of
roster
now,
Yeah,
spots I
you
don't even
can't
it's
even
know.
remember now.
it's Slasher, Kenny,
Mhm.
Draza's back in,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then TJ is also back in, if I'm not mistaken. As of
Again?
now, I think.
That's just,
No,
Did he
no,
just
no, no.
get dropped
No,
last
he's
week?
gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. See,
Oh.
I'm confused. So
No,
yeah,
it's
it's Slasher, Slasher, Draza, and Kenny are the three that are confirmed. I don't know who their fourth is right now, but I do know that I think this major they do have to roster lock. Like, I think this is the one that the roster lock through champs.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, you can't pick up people anymore.
it would be the same thing for us going into a tournament. Like, one tournament we're going to go in with this four, and then all of a sudden we're going to be like, okay, you know what? We didn't win. We're going to chalk that, and we're just going to bring in another person for the
Yeah,
next tournament.
it's just
Okay,
too
we didn't win
much.
that one. Chalk it. Bring in another one. Like, it doesn't work like that. Chemistry's built over time. You're
Yeah.
not going to build chemistry by just constantly just chalking these players and like they'll be playing scrims, for example. They're going to play scrims with a certain four, and then all of a sudden tournament day or the major comes up or whatever, and then all of a sudden now there's another player. They didn't even get their position set or what angles they're going to hold on certain hills or rotations or whatever. They can't even get that set because they're going to be playing with somebody who didn't even get to scrim with them for that
See,
week or the following week. So it makes
the
no sense to
fourth,
me.
the fourth I think they just signed was Jack.
Yeah,
He
no,
was
John.
Yes,
John,
John.
That just reminded
He's the
me.
one that
Yeah.
they
One of the
just signed.
OG subs. So I'm curious to
Mhm.
But
see how he
see,
plays.
He
my
was
thing
good
is
in World War II, from
Yeah,
what
he
I've
was
he
heard.
good.
was.
Yeah,
So,
last season or the last game, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
So.
And like my thing is, I feel like JCap's so obsessed with like winning right now that if his team loses, he's gonna switch up all the cards to see what works and like see what pieces go together. But I don't think that's the right thing to do. Like I said, because like Coach Jiggy is saying, chemistry is like it builds over time. Like you can't just switch out different people and
Yeah,
expect like like it was like straight like different results.
that's
Like I
right.
mean,
So yeah, instant success is like a fool's wish, basically, and in any kind of sport, for example, or like even esports, for example. I was showing Nathan the example of like LeBron James goes to the Lakers first season. What happened? They didn't
gonna
win. They
make it.
actually didn't even make the playoffs. Now I know there
No.
was injuries associated. That's going to happen with any kind of sport or even esports or whatever.
Then they brought
But
RonDo in, changed the aspect of
after
the
the
game.
after that next season, after they had some time and some chemistry, they made the right moves. Then throughout that season, they started playing a whole lot better, and then they won the next season. And
Won
then,
the
of course,
championship.
then this next season, injuries happened again, and they didn't make it. But you get my point. Instant
Hmm.
success is not going to happen,
Yeah.
especially not in a game that is so chemistry based, or a sport that's so chemistry based like Call of Duty Esports. It's
Exactly.
not gonna happen. You have to grind with these guys all the time, and that's something that I was preaching to the players the other day. Like you have to grind together for a long time to build that chemistry up. You can't just dip out after one loss or after two tournament losses or whatever. It's not going to work like that. You have to stay together. You have to stay consistent. I know it sucks, but it is a grind, and that's why we call it a grind. You know what I mean? And so this 100 Thieves team with all these different, identifications, all these different, roster changes, it's not going to work at the end of the day because these guys don't even know how to play with each other because it's a new four every single week, it seems. And even the players are like, I don't even know who I'm playing with.
That's
Then
So,
the opposite end of the spectrum. I see it in the chat. I'm getting there. Cause yes, I'm with you, Dallas. I had a shaky moment there because Hook is my boy, and after they did him like that, but Hook is kind of, I don't know what he's on right now. He's not acting like he
Boys
wants to play
booted.
this year. I
I didn't
think
even want to bring it up,
yeah,
but
he's not seeming like he wants to play. I hope there's some things. I hope he gets it figured out because I love Hook. But yes, I'm a Dallas fan, and like they said, Dallas, they've been playing unreal. You know why? Because they played same team from MW, with the exception of Hook right now. They're playing together. Like they moved one player, and they're still looking good. But you still have the base three together, and it's like the chemistry's there. Like when you see them play on the map, They just play like they know they play like they've been playing together because they have for the past two COD titles, and it
Mhm.
shows. Same thing with FaZe. That's why they're so dominant. This is the United team that won champs in BO4. They
Yeah.
have chemistry, so it's like they brought them back together. Nothing changed. So it's like
Mhm.
chemistry does play a part, and COD teams they need to take notes because I don't think they over at 100 Thieves are realizing like you can't figure that out in a week. Like you see these teams succeeding like
Yeah.
FaZe and Dallas that keep that chem going and they're winning. That's just how it happens.
Yeah. Like,
Greatest team of all
yeah.
time, Optic Dynasty won IW champs. They played together 3 COD titles before they won. They placed like top
Mhm. That
3 or
is true.
2 for 2 years and then finally won an IW. Like it
Mhm.
takes time.
Yeah.
It
It's
does.
trust. Like, that's what it comes down to. Like realistically, going back on what Jiggy said, like 100%. Like when you're sitting there, like in any environment, in an environment in a workplace, in your office, or wherever it may be that requires a team. You know what I mean? Like teams are built on trust and being able to play with that person, trusting your back. That's what it comes down to. I mean, everybody plays comp here. I mean, you've seen it. Like you might be looking, oh, I might not trust this guy. Like I'm gonna turn around real quick, see
You're
this
right.
angle, and guess what? You both die because you weren't watching them that front door when he came in. That's what it comes down to. Like you wouldn't have
Mhm.
done that if you trusted your teammate, and that's I think everybody
Exactly.
can work on it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a ringer that doesn't work, which
Mm,
takes us right into the next one, like the amateur COD scene, for example. They
huge.
are, if you look at the challengers, it is an absolute ringer, which is why you see like different teams win this every single time they have a challengers event. It's like a new team that wins because a lot of the top teams are rotating, switching teams. Oh, I'm making another team change. I'm making another roster change. Challengers is just it's unreal with how it's a different team
It's
every single week.
chaotic.
The teams who have won the most events and challengers, like Wester, Easter, when Wester had their run where they won like they four-peated, I think. They three-peated, I know for sure. And then I think they won a fourth, but that's when they kept that roster for like the entirety of all of that. And that team won over and over because you have a lot of the top AMs, they'll lose in a scrim and they're like, I'm gonna go team with somebody else. Like the challengers,
Right.
it's a ringer, which is tough for a lot of the top AM players to really make a name for themselves because they're too busy team hopping. They can't really see success.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
BBG
No.
in the chat. BBG is another one that's been playing together, and
Mhm.
they succeed. And like BBG, Wester, they had Paul X before he left, but those are teams that had like former pro players, so they have a different mindset of like we can see success if we play together. But there's a lot of the AM players that they've never been there, they hadn't seen that before, and they're just impatient. They just want instant success, and they're team
Exactly.
hopping, and it just does not work.
No, a lot of them too. It's team hopping, but it also goes into like some of them they don't want to play together. They want to get their name out there. They want to be the ones, the hero, the
Yeah.
one in the news, the one that gets picked up from the team and goes to like maybe like an academy team or a bench role in the CDL or even just picked up in the starting lineup in the CDL. Like a lot of those kind of players in the amateurs, they want to just they want to go off. They want to be that guy, that hero guy that gets picked up, and it really hurts the team. You can't have somebody who's all about themselves on
Yeah.
a team. And I know it's
It hurts them
cliche and
too.
annoying. Yeah, I know it's cliche and annoying, but we've all heard it in sports growing up. There's no I in team. Like you can't. This is a team game, especially going now from 5v5 to 4v4. It's more like crucial than ever to go back to using teamwork in this game. You can't just have one player carrying the whole team. It happens sometimes in Search and Destroy, maybe, but in Respawn, you can drop 50 kills and still lose. We see it all the time. This doesn't matter how many kills you
That's
have
how it
or how
goes
good you're doing on
too.
the map. You have to have teamwork.
It
And
works in their
so,
favor
yeah.
though if you play as a team because like a lot of the teams and a lot of the players that are getting picked up are getting picked up from winning teams. Like Paul
Mhm.
X, for example, Zapid. Like a lot of people are getting looks, but they're getting looked at because their team is winning. So it's like once you
Mhm.
start winning as a team, that's when you get looked at, and then you can start. They start checking your play style out. And another comment in the chat, they were saying that's just the difference in the CDL ever since they switched to a franchise is
Mhm.
CWL, you had a lot of these AM teams that could stay together because they had a chance to make it, but now it's like their
Mhm.
main purpose is to get on a 12-man roster. They're not even
Yeah.
playing for winning like they should, how it was in the CWL, which is why I missed that format, is because you
Mhm.
had a ton of teams who could try to make that 64-man bracket and then play down to there, and you could have a challengers team. You could have like say KGK had enough challengers points, we could go play Optic at an event. Like, people don't have that grind. They're just like, I have to get on a 12-man roster. Like, they're not even worried about the scene anymore. It just kind of shook things up, trying to change how things are.
Exactly. It's a lot of them. It's not even for fun anymore. It's that they just
Yeah.
want to do that so they can win the money and then get out. So
Yeah, it was like
yeah,
challengers is like them switching to a franchise almost ruined COD in a sense. Like, it'll get better when they start adding more teams, but for now it's just a ringer because these teams are like, I want to, like, I went from having an opportunity to play for championships to I have to grind for an opportunity to get picked up to grind again to win a championship. Like, you haven't even gotten to that point yet.
exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah. No,
there's
I
money
agree
in
100%.
challengers. There's money. People forget you can play for the Challengers Cup, win championships, win money.
There was plenty of money.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Isn't
What
it
was
like
it? It was
100,000?
250,000 prize pool last year, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, there's plenty of money to be made in challengers. I'd have to pay off my student loans if I was a part of the 4-man roster that won.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's more than enough money. People just got to take
Give
it,
me a car.
take it and
yeah,
roll with it.
exactly.
June
Mhm.
30th.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to see more expansion though in the CDL though. Like, I really want like Kansas City to get a team because if Kansas City got a team, I would be the biggest super
I
fan
think it comes
here
down
in
to
Missouri.
most of the teams that we'll see are going to be teams that exist already that can buy in.
Yeah,
Like a
exactly.
team like
Like
Wester,
Envy.
a team like, well, Envy is Dallas, but like,
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
yeah, so like basically teams like that who will come in, but you might see like a Wester just be a team, or you might see like there is the Kansas City Pioneers that picked up Sensor. They're like they could, which I don't know if they have like the money for that or not, but finding the right investments and getting bought into the league, like teams like that, you could see. But I'm curious to see in the
Oh.
off season how that works.
Calling Patrick Mahomes, asking for a small little
I was about
loan.
to say,
He got the money.
You just slip me a small loan of a couple million to get in, get me a spot.
Jeez.
But yeah, no, that'd be awesome. Like, yeah, do you think that at one day we could see like an NFL like 32 teams of Call of Duty, or even like the NBA with 30 teams?
They
Think it would ever
should.
get that much?
I know a
I
lot of
think
people
so.
are saying, like, I know a lot of the pros especially are saying like, oh, it'll get to 16 and cut off. But I was like, with the amount of talent, there's no way they don't keep expanding.
I don't see why you
Especially
wouldn't.
the
I mean,
money involved. Like, there's so much more money
yeah.
to be made, especially if you have more teams. But I think the problem they run into is the more teams they have, they already don't have. There's already too many matches going on for people to watch everything. Like, if they could come
Yeah.
out with a different format to, like the NFL, like their season's longer, which they'd have to extend the season out, maybe like the start of a COD title, give it a month, and then play all the way up until a new COD. Because like the season would have to be longer, so it's like every week there's like maybe one or two matches instead of you're playing like Thursday to Sunday and there's like 6 matches a day. No one can watch that all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean this format, I kind of liked the major format, but I also really liked just the home stands in general of last year. I thought those were a lot of fun to watch. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, really. It's just because it's all online now. I guess there really is no LAN homestand now. So,
Yeah, they need to get back
but
to that though. They don't need to get comfortable with
yeah,
online.
I don't want them to get comfortable with
Yeah.
online. I don't think any of the players want them to get comfortable with online. The point of competitive Call of Duty is, we love to see them next to each other going at it, and then as
With
soon
the
as one
crowd.
team wins, just the crowd goes off and they just start screaming at each other. That's competitive Call of Duty. I mean, trash talking is a part of the game. Like, whether
Yeah.
we want to, whether you want it or not, like there's always going to be teams jawing at each other regardless, and that's just with any sport, not even esports. But it just so happens that it's Call of Duty, and we've all known since Modern Warfare 2 that trash talking is a very big part of the game. So
I mean, have you heard Bones in League play? That boy is ruthless.
Crazy.
Gotta get in their head.
So-
Acting all crazy. They get all
exactly,
nervous and
but that is a
seriously,
good
like,
point.
What
Yeah.
it comes down to people
Yeah.
talking shit about the bone scope, bro. You don't need to
they don't know nothing about it.
They don't know
They get
anything about when you get
wasted
donkey
quick.
punched
Yeah,
by a
exactly.
bone scope,
and
but
they get shit on and they're like, damn.
They look at the
But,
kill
like,
cam.
but yeah, but like going to it though, like if we were to get like 30 teams or something like that, you're right, they'd have to extend the season out. But I'm wondering how that would affect the pros because there wouldn't be as much downtime for them to learn the game, figure out the meta, figure out what maps they even want to be comp and stuff like that. Because if you're already having to make the season out longer, I think they have like a 2-month off season, isn't it?
It ends in August, and the next games usually come out like November, and they don't start
November
till
or
like January,
January.
February.
Yeah, it's usually like
So they get like
January.
4 months off, which is
Okay.
good for them. But I was like, if you get it any longer, you kind of roll into it, like.
Exactly. You're
Yeah.
gonna
So
roll
it's
into
kind
the
of
off
iffy,
season.
which is why they're saying
So.
that they might stop at like 16 and just kind of spread the season a little bit.
Mm.
Like again, Wave and Chat, like the format, it's like okay, but just like if the matches are more spread out, people could watch more. Like you could see
Yeah.
more instead of like, oh, let me just find out when Optic, Dallas, and FaZe are playing, because I don't have time to watch all these other teams that I don't really care about.
Exactly.
that is a
Everybody
big
wants to
problem
watch the best
too.
ones. Yeah.
You know, say
Go
like
ahead.
because like everyone has their fan favorites. Everyone supports a certain team. They know the big teams from the bad teams, and so they're gonna like especially that viewership. Like whenever we saw Optic versus FaZe in like the losers bracket, the viewership like skyrocketed because it's two big names. But whenever it was like Toronto and like LA, the Gorillas, nobody watched it because nobody
Yeah.
cared.
Yeah, I was like,
And
if
I
it's
think
not the
that's
top big four teams like LA Thieves, Dallas, Optic, and
mhm.
Atlanta, like the viewership takes a
And yeah.
dive.
And
Mm.
I think that like if they added more teams to that, they would get like better matchups too, and even maybe sometimes those rivalries as well that will turn into like viewerships because like I mean you will see like these other players like just going off on each other, like jawing each other, and then all of a sudden they come back the next time and all of a sudden they lose, and like that's how that rivalry starts, and then people just want to be better, and then people are going to support that because people like conflict. So just
Like the
I feel like
drama.
yeah, and I was like, I feel like I feel like the expansion would be like a solid thing for the CDL, especially.
And it would let more
Yeah.
talent in, because there's
Yeah.
so much talent in the challenge. Like a lot of these challengers teams are scrimming pro teams and beating them, like killing some of the pro teams. So I was like, if you let some of these AMs in the league, it would there might be a hidden 𝙃𝙤𝙨 out there that no one's seen because there's not enough roster spots. But it's like you
Exactly.
let more talent in, there's a better chance for
Hmm.
like more competition instead of we got like 3 teams that will roll over anybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, no, the expansion is something that I've been talking about since the inaugural season of the CDL. I mean, we already saw the phase get added, but it was basically that Optic, that OGLA team, and just became phase, and then Chicago Huntsman became Optic. So it wasn't really
Yeah.
much of an addition or an expansion. It was more just kind of rebranding. But it's still like huge for 100 Thieves fans because I mean 100 Thieves has been a big team for
Yeah.
other esports like League of Legends and stuff like that
And they were
before
a good COD team.
they were a good
I mean,
COD
yeah, like
team
I was
before
saying,
they
Black
won
Ops
Black Ops
4.
4. Yeah,
Yeah.
so but like I want to see like I think we're at 12 CDL teams. I wouldn't mind seeing it get to 16 by next season and
Yeah,
then
that's
by
why I'm
maybe after the season
excited.
after that like 20 at some point.
I'm nervous
If
for the
COD
game,
continues
but
to
I'm
keep going.
excited for the season because I'm excited for these bombs to drop over the summer. Like
Mm,
after the off
roster
season
mania.
of the roster mania, like what teams are coming in, and then like once the teams do get announced, like the expansion teams, what players are gonna be like, all right, bet we're gonna go team up over there and leave
Mm,
behind. Like you got players like Octane, there's no shot they're staying in Seattle. Like if unless he's
no.
tied down by a contract. Like I know he has a big contract, but if he's not tied down, there's no way he's not out of there.
He needs to get out of there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
They
hoping he
literally
Seattle's
does.
not doing it
it's
for him.
it's bad that back in MW, literally they had a big meme and a big sign on the CDL broadcast itself that said
Yes,
"Help
help Sam.
Sam." Like it's bad because literally like he's the only player that shows up to that game. Like everybody else just gets absolutely like shit on. It's not good for him. Like and it just kind of you can see how that takes an effect on his mental state. Like he talks about it all the time in his YouTube videos.
Yeah.
This has like been one of the toughest years like in a couple years for him, both just in life and in his like his job, his competitive scene because he's not winning and he's used to winning. He's used to being such a
He's the
dominant player
turret.
and he literally is a human turret. That's his nickname. And the fact that he has no team built around him and he's just absolutely, getting like Seattle didn't even win a game last year for like the first like 3 or 4 weeks. Like it was
They were on
unreal.
a I forgot what their losing streak extended from MW into this year until they
Mm.
beat Optic, I think.
Yeah, it
Like
was
they were on
it
a
was
mad losing
bad.
streak.
And that kind of stuff as a player, that can take a massive toll on you
Yeah,
quickly
you
if
don't
you
like
can't
Was
losing.
it
win anything.
mentally?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is mentally draining if you don't ever win anything. Like to at least even make it to like the next round of a tournament or something
Yeah.
is just it's just such a great feeling as opposed to just getting out in the first round like Seattle was all the time. Like that's just frustrating.
It's a big
So
this year's been mentally draining apparently for a lot of pros. Just looking at a lot of like tweets and stuff. It's gonna be interesting when the season ends. All the retirees,
yeah.
because you got to think like people like T2P. You got apathy. Players like getting up there and they're kind of like tired of this game, and it's like pushing them at the edge there. It's like once a lot of players retire, it's gonna open up a lot of spots. A lot of
Mm.
teams are gonna change because they're tired of losing. Like it's gonna be it's That's why I think like FaZe is gonna end up being like a dynasty for at least this year and then next year, because it's gonna be a mix of year next year.
And they're all young too. Like they're like Chris and 𝙃𝙤𝙨𝙪𝙨, Tyler. They're both young
Yeah, FaZe
players.
is not
Like
going anywhere. They like Cell, Abizi, and Simp are all young as hell, and then our
yeah.
cities isn't much older.
Yeah, I would say Arcity I don't think is much older. I think he's the oldest player on that team, and he's only like what
He's like
23,
I think
24.
no, he's not even that old. Him and Preston I think just turned like 21 or 22.
Yeah, so they're not very old. And then, I mean, Chris has been doing this since he was like 16. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like yeah, FaZe is gonna be up there for a long time, definitely. But you remember how we always talked about how this is such a friendship league? I'm wondering if some of those retirees, like some of the old guys that they don't really, the veterans that don't have much of a say in the rosters anymore. I'm kind of curious to see how many more AMs are gonna start getting in, like, and how many more guys are gonna start getting a shot because there's no one who can kind of
It'll
control
still
the
be buddy
vouchers and
buddy, I
stuff.
think. Like I know Scump said he's gonna wait till that trailer, obviously, but like let's say hypothetically him and Formal retired. It then becomes Envoy's team. Like he's the team leader as it is. Like him and Dashy are gonna have that say in like who do you want to team with or stuff like that.
Right.
It'll still, but then again you have the younger guys that are gonna start taking control of teams. Like they know more AM players because they were in that scene. So it's like
Right.
there might be some of that friendship that trickles down into the challenger scene. Like, oh, I know this guy's nasty. Let's bring him up.
hmm
It's kind of how it
Yeah,
goes.
it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, I really obviously I'm a big Optic fan. I'm sure most people know. Um, but like if Scump and Formal both retire, like I mean, nobody wants to see that. Like those guys
Oh
have been
no.
around for forever, and that's gonna be a huge hit. I think on the comp scene itself is letting those players go. It's gonna be tough to see. It's just like when Karma left. When Karma left, that shook the
Oh
CDL
yeah.
world in itself because, I mean, unfortunately he didn't want to be on Seattle Surge and help Sam out,
He said,
but
"I'm out of here."
he's gone, and when those guys leave too, that's gonna be a huge hit. It's like seeing Peyton Manning retire or like
Yeah,
Tom Brady here
it's
in the
gonna suck.
future.
Brady's not retiring anytime soon. He's got
Brady's gonna stay till he's 50. But you know what I mean? Like that
Yeah, it's
kind of
gonna
stuff is
suck.
it's hard to see. Yeah, you don't want to see that kind of stuff
At least
because
though,
those are
it's
like the
like
guys you look up to.
at least that's like a nice thing in esports. In some cases, which will be their case, is like they'll be streaming content a lot
Mm.
more than they do. So it's like you won't necessarily miss them. You'll miss them in like in
And the
COD, like
comp
in their
scene,
environment comp scene. But it's like at least we'll still get to see them, and we'll
Yeah.
get to
I
see them
think
in a
you're gonna
looser
see.
state. They're not gonna be so stressed out and hearing
Yeah,
hate all the
and
time. Like they can
I mean,
relax.
and I really do think, and that's unfortunate, but I really do think that formal and maybe not formal, maybe formal might stay on for another year,
I
but I
think
think
if
if
Scump
formal
leaves,
stays
Formal's
on,
gone.
that's what I was gonna say. It's gonna be a bit of a package deal, I feel like. But I feel like both of them are gonna want to leave because I mean we saw them. They competed in the what is it, the World of Warzone or whatever
Oh yeah, they
tournament
Yeah.
literally
that just
placed top
happened.
World
like
Series.
10 with
Yeah,
Karma, and they
like
don't even play
mhm,
Warzone.
exactly, and they enjoyed it. They enjoyed themselves. They talked about it, how they had fun and stuff like that. Like I think that they are gonna end up retiring because Scump even said it in a tweet of it was a few weeks back when they lost this in this most recent major. He said that he was sad, and his mental state was messed up because he just keeps losing, and he stopped working on his own brand. He stopped
Yeah,
streaming. He
hasn't streamed
stopped
for
like
months.
yeah, hasn't streamed for months. He said he stopped doing all that stuff, out of the comp scene to just focus on his craft and grind and keep trying to get better. And then they still lose, and he's like, it's just frustrating. I mean, I can see how that'd be frustrating because you stopped working on your own brand only to keep losing, and then now it's like you're losing in two aspects. You're losing in your comp side, and then also your stream and your Twitch stuff is suffering as well. And
How does that
Scump being
work?
the businessman that we all know that he is, he's going to want to go back to that businessman side of things, and he knows that he can make a lot more money off of streaming than he probably will with Call of Duty, in competitive comp. So
I think
I
you're
think
He's
gonna
got
start seeing a lot of big esports companies looking to sign professional athletes that are looking to get out of their role. Maybe they're not happy in their
Yeah.
NBA or the MLB or whatever it is. You're gonna start seeing people cross over because realistically, an athlete is an athlete. If you're really good at one thing, you're probably gonna be really good
right.
at another game. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mhm.
mechanics, and
Mhm.
if you can shoot, you know what I mean, the reaction times, everything goes into it. So like I feel like you're gonna start seeing people. They're gonna start looking for people for creators. I think that's a
Mhm.
big role that's gonna come up is in that. I think you're gonna start seeing that transfer over into that role. I mean, I think we see it already
Mhm.
with some people in the NFL at least. You know what I mean? There's definitely
Yeah.
some. I think the guy for what is it, the Giant or somebody,
Odell.
Odell
Odell
Beckham. Yeah,
Beckham.
Yeah.
Mhm.
he plays a lot of games. So I
I was
mean,
gonna
there's people out
yeah.
there.
I was gonna bring the NBA in. I mean, I know he's
Yeah,
about to go compete for a title, but Devin Booker is a
same
huge Call
thing.
of Duty fan, and
Warzone.
he's a
Yep.
big Warzone guy,
Ben
and I can
Yes.
Simmons.
definitely see
Yes.
him. Yeah, Ben
Mm-hmm.
Simmons is another one. I mean, Booker's really good, and
I
I
mean,
watched him stream with I think it was Nate Shot or Scump. It was one of
yeah.
the two. I can't remember. It was really late at night, but I remember I was tuned in to that because it was fun to watch. Because I was like, seriously, like an NBA players like over here hanging with like pro Call of Duty players in Warzone, like that was a lot of fun to watch. So
They're
Chat
I
good.
definitely can
chat
see
saying
that.
Ben Simmons a better a better streamer than
Yeah.
Streamer
basketball
the
player.
basketball player.
Lucy.
We won't get into that. That's a topic for another time. But he can shoot off the court, but he can't shoot on the court. Oh, but
That's too
no, I
funny.
mean that is a really interesting point that you bring up though, Bones, because yeah, I definitely Devin Booker, he could he could make a lot of money off of that kind of stuff for
Yeah.
sure with his own
I think
I,
you're
brand.
gonna see
So
it.
I
I
think
think you're gonna
Nate
see a lot
already
of good
wants like
stuff.
to sign him to 100 Thieves
Yeah,
because I mean
it's a
they're like
fight.
pretty much best friends. But also, I mean like just like FaZe, you see what Bronny Jr. is doing with FaZe. He streams sometimes.
Kyler
he
You know,
Murray
streams
from FaZe too.
2K. Yeah,
exactly. Like
that
I
is
mean,
say.
so I mean that's gonna be a lot of especially a lot of income with 100 Thieves. Like solid because
Yeah,
they
With
already
that
have
definitely.
with
good
that
content
streaming
creators.
comes
Yeah,
everything.
You see
Comes
that drop
everything.
and
though,
like
The whole
Nathan? You
nine
see that drop? You can
yards.
get some. You can
I
get some
didn't buy
coin.
anything. I didn't buy anything because you guys were rushing me.
No,
All
you don't.
right.
You don't have to. It's apparently it's their foundations. It's like their brand, so you can buy it whenever. Like they're gonna start mass producing that
Finally,
brand of clothing. So all the stuff you see, I think,
Damn.
what they're making it sound like is gonna be
finally.
available for like as long as they need it. Yeah, I was about to say because I'm about
He
to have
fell out of
to
his chair. He can't believe
I
it.
could cry. I
once I
could
get some money
cry.
saved up, I might have to cop a
Dude,
couple things. It looks
bro,
nice.
they got socks, they got dad
The
hats, they got
windbreakers.
shorts. Bro, did
Yeah,
you see the shorts? Yeah, they have like the
yeah.
kind of lapels, everything
Yeah, but
good.
say this, they're
You know,
making it sound like it's gonna be available permanently. Like you can just go on, like
um,
it's their shop, like their clothing brand.
bro, they even have like sweatshirts, bro. The white sweatshirts that I just have 100. Like, it's so clean,
That
dude. I was
sounds
just staring
it's
at it.
fire. I'm not gonna lie.
See, we
Well,
need to
look.
have some apparel drops, Bones.
Oh,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
Oh,
we'll be
we
Yeah,
getting
will.
there.
we've talked about it. We've talked about doing some things. We've talked about we're just looking obviously still to grow the brand. And I mean we're still
Right.
new. So I mean realistically we're just looking to get better. We're looking to get bigger and better. So
Once Coach Jiggy
um
starts getting us some wins,
yes,
things will
sir,
start
that's what I'm
looking up.
saying.
We're working on it. All right, we're working on it. We're taking the weekend off. It's 4th of July weekend. I made sure all the players were informed not to blow their thumbs up because we need these pretty bad. And then once we come back, we're gonna refocus and then we're gonna start getting back on the grind.
Hey,
So
maybe we
hopefully
can
we'll
get
start seeing some success
maybe
soon.
we can get one of them on there in the coming weeks when they start getting that grind on. Start seeing what
Oh
they're
yeah.
feeling. But
Oh yeah.
that's hitting our time. We're right at an hour. Perfect time, chat.
Yeah, that was really
Man.
good.
That was a
Good
good that
time.
was a good first episode. Chat was bumping today.
Yeah.
I appreciate
So thank
everybody
you.
coming in and watching. Y'all getting that early access. This is gonna be uploaded to other sources, but y'all get the first look.
Man, I think you topped out at like close to 20 viewers at one
Yeah, I would
point
say a
there,
lot of
so
people
that's
are
looking
hopping
good
in
for the
here.
Twitch.
Good.
Heck
That's
yeah.
dope. That's
Hell yeah.
dope.
Good to know people are gonna be interested in this. That's exactly what we wanted to see.
Yep.
That's without
Any
kind of
closing
any
comments from any of
advertisement.
you three?
Just know that gluten doesn't exist.
I mean, just any closing statements is just thank you for having me on here because this is a lot of fun. Hopefully I'll be on a couple more of these, but
Oh, you'll
I
be
know
on plenty
that
of them. Don't worry.
I
Oh, yeah.
know that a lot of this might when you guys record it might conflict with like the comp schedule side of things, but I'll try to make it to as many of these as I can, and I'll try to be a good voice for you guys.
I think
every time I
we're
get
gonna have
here.
like a certain specific day to like
Yeah.
record this stuff, especially like like sometime maybe early in like not early in the morning, but like
Or use
a good
content
time where it
day,
doesn't.
like to
Yeah.
take an
Content
hour
day.
out of content day early. We'll
Yeah,
figure
like,
something
yeah.
out.
Mhm.
I'll also be trying to
Definitely.
get another thing I want to do with again that media side. I'm getting some interviews out there. You might be on the
Yeah, that's
interview
very
block.
fun.
Yep.
I don't know how I
This
do with
week on
interviews.
Head coach is in the hot seat. We have at number 3, KGK Jiggy.
I'll save that for chill. I'll save that for chill and Nick.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Jiggy. Thank you, JBonez, and thank you,
course.
Dukey, for coming
Guys,
in on the
thank you guys,
first
seriously.
episode of the podcast. Appreciate everybody
Appreciate
for
you
tuning
guys.
Appreciate
in. We'll
it.
see
Yeah.
you guys next week.
Yeah.
KGK all day.
Woo!
Hey.